accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure.
This may be the last time we see our legend, the greatest fighter of this generation. I told y'all back then that Bud would beat Floyd Mayweather. Y'all didn't believe me.
He can do it. But what I'm saying is, if you have a victory over this man now, just does it, what for what? Terence Crawford, we know what you are.
Boxing pros explain.
Boxing experts weigh in on why Terence Crawford is now being hailed as the GOAT following his historic victory over Canelo Alvarez. His ability to climb multiple weight divisions while maintaining dominance has impressed fans and professionals alike, marking him as a generational talent. Renowned trainer Robert Garcia supported this sentiment, stating that Crawford has accomplished feats even Floyd Mayweather never attempted. Garcia emphasized that Crawford decisively won 9 to 10 rounds against Canelo and displayed an unmatched hunger and intensity. In his view, Mayweather never faced a challenge of this magnitude, making Crawford's achievement one of the most significant in boxing history.
Already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't. I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing if Canelo doesn't have any changes. If he doesn't, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to
Greg Hackett pushed back hard against the notion that Terence Crawford needs another major fight to solidify his legacy, especially after Turki Alshik floated the idea of a bout with David Benavidez. Hackett made it clear, Crawford's dominant victory over Canelo Alvarez was more than enough. By moving up from welterweight to super middleweight and decisively beating one of the era's most feared champions, Crawford accomplished what many thought was impossible. To Hackett, this wasn't just another win, it was a defining moment that etched Crawford's name among boxing's all-time greats. He emphasized that Crawford's bold leap in weight and the manner in which he dismantled Canelo was unprecedented. In his view, this single fight tells the full story of Crawford's greatness. No Benavidez matchup is needed. The legacy is already sealed.
Medieval effect, like, all right, you jumped over 3 buses. Let's say if you could do 10 buses. You know what I'm saying? He trying to test his limits, and they think the money is going to keep getting him out there. That fight is pointless. The fight is pointless because nobody ever talked about that fight until now. And then I don't feel like Bud needs a Benavidez. And then that would mean Benavidez would have to go into a different body and bring himself back down to 68 when he's already getting settled in at 175. And, you know, I believe Benavidez has some tough tasks in front of him that he want to conquer before even talking like that. I don't even think he want to talk like that because there's really no point. He wanted the Canelo fight because Canelo was the man at 68. He was at 68. I don't think he cared about fighting Bud, and I don't think Bud care about fighting Benavidez. That's just Turkey trying to pull rank. Turkey trying to show he got a golden arm. You know what I mean?
I understand that Turkey likes to make these big grand events, but there's a boxing aspect to this shit too. Like some stuff gotta make boxing sense. Yeah. Bringing the dude down that's been comfortable at 75 bringing him back down to 68 and then having him fight a dude that just jumped 3 weight classes in 2 fights that started his career off at 35.
Right.
Like, no, bro. No, man.
Yeah, I don't want to see that fight. There's no point. There's no point. Like I said, Bud needs to just go get a line of suits. You know what I'm saying? Get ready to just start talking about this shit.
What kind of suits, though?
I don't know. I don't know what's the best.
Show Eyes the Adult described Terence Crawford's achievement as one of the most remarkable single-fight accomplishments in modern boxing. He admired how Crawford methodically climbed from welterweight to middleweight and ultimately to 168 pounds, executing his plan with flawless precision to conquer Canelo Alvarez. This wasn't a case of luck or a fortunate break. Show Eyes emphasized it was a carefully orchestrated rise where every step was leading to this ultimate showdown. According to him, the fight seemed destined from the start. Crawford was ready, polished, and sharper than ever before. Show Eyes declared that Crawford doesn't need to prove anything more. This was truly the fight of fights. For him, the boxing world has seen enough to close the chapter on Crawford's greatness. His dominance over Canelo showcased everything that makes a fighter legendary. At this point, no further challenges are necessary. Crawford has already cemented his place at the very top of the sport.
Thoroughly just knew there was no way Terence Bud Crawford beat Saul Canelo Alvarez at 168. Canelo Alvarez was the super middleweight undisputed champion and younger. Terence Crawford was 26 at lightweight. Canelo Alvarez at 26, what was he, a middleweight? Terence Bud Crawford just grew to 154 at 36 years old. Canelo hasn't been able to make 154 since he was a baby. Terence Bud Crawford jumped up from welterweight to super middleweight to beat one of the greatest fighters of all time, to become 3-time undisputed in 3 different weight classes. Enough said.
Enough said.
It shed light on his victory against Errol the Truth Spence. That is for damn sure. Just the way he dominated him. Errol Spence was in there like, what the? If Canelo is saying there wasn't shit I can do in there, Errol Spence had to have been in there like, holy shit. It brings light to his resume. Everybody ducked him. We kind of knew that Bob Arum had Manny Pacquiao avoid Terence Crawford. I can't say Manny Pacquiao avoided Terence Crawford, but Bob Arum definitely did. PBC, welterweights in the PBC all avoided him. I am here to give credit to Terence Crawford for being one of the most ducked fighters in history. So you cannot any longer blame his resume, his greatness, and look at his resume when we all know, genuinely, we have to be genuine, that he is one of the most ducked fighters of all time, like Bob Foster, like Black Murderers Row, Charlie Burley and Eddie Booker and all those guys. Listen, Terence Crawford by himself is Black Murderers Row of this era. Now, do I need Terence Bud Crawford to continue fighting? Hell no. For what? If you beat Terence Crawford now, what do you want him to do? Strip down to 160, lose that muscle mass he has, and be a little bit... We saw that with Roy Jones Jr., but he can do it. He's the everything man. He can do it. But what I'm saying is, if you have a victory over this man now, just does it... What for what?
Tim Bradley has long been a vocal supporter of Terence Crawford's greatness, and after this fight, he felt completely vindicated. Bradley reminded fans that he had always called Crawford the baddest man on earth, and Crawford's dominant performance over Canelo Alvarez proved him right. Many doubters questioned whether Crawford could compete at higher weight classes, but he didn't just compete, he dominated with astonishing ease. Bradley highlighted how effortless Crawford looked, almost as if he was sparring rather than facing one of boxing's most feared punchers. In his view, this victory elevates Crawford into an elite class beyond most champions, even inviting comparisons to Floyd Mayweather. Bradley insisted that Crawford's name must now be included at the very top of any discussion about the greatest boxer of all time. For him, this win was about more than just beating Canelo. It was a redefinition of what it means to be pound-for-pound #1 and potentially the greatest fighter the sport has ever seen.
Terence Bud Crawford, the baddest man on the planet. Y'all saying, no, he too small, Tim. He too small. Man, that was easy. That was easy. That was more easier than I thought. Terence said he was going to have them crying, and he had them crying when they was walking out. They was crying. Oh, yeah. They were damn crying. They was upset. Head was down. They couldn't believe what they just witnessed. Oh, yeah. Boxing performance. I told y'all this was going to be one of the greatest boxing performances of all times. I told y'all. Y'all didn't believe me. Oh, Tim, you over here. You riding Crawford. You riding him like he God. You riding him like he invincible. All this stuff. You don't see that greatness now? You don't see that greatness. Yeah. Hey, go ahead and hop on the train. It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep. Y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.
Luke Thomas called Terence Crawford nothing short of a boxing genius. He reflected on how Canelo Alvarez, widely regarded as one of the sport's all-time greats and known for dominating countless challenges, was rendered ordinary under Crawford's command. Thomas likened this performance to Crawford's earlier dominance over Ricky Burns, but on a much larger, historic scale. Canelo is no easy opponent. He's one of the most skilled and accomplished champions in modern boxing. Yet Crawford dismantled him with surgical precision. Thomas emphasized that Crawford's brilliance wasn't just in the win, but in his ability to anticipate every move, execute flawless timing, and neutralize Canelo's strengths. He described the performance as a masterclass that stunned analysts with its seeming effortlessly. To Thomas, the true mark of Crawford's greatness is making a fighter of Canelo's caliber look so ordinary.
Because it wasn't working. Or they were threatened in some kind of way. It was fucking Canelo. Canelo had some good punches in this fight. I thought early on that left hook to the body, which he got away from in the middle parts of the fight, got back to it a little bit at the end. But again, he was catching and shooting was a big part of why that went away. Bud was like, bop, catching him for it. Several times he hit him with that. Canelo had a decent jab at times. That right hand was able to catch Bud cleanly a couple of times, but not really. Bud's face looked normal, fine. You would never have known he went 12 rounds. Remarkable. Remarkable beyond words, man. Remarkable. That is so, I fucking hope and pray that everyone who is I don't know what the casuals are going to say. I really don't. But for the real fight fans, the ones who are probably watching the stream, I hope you appreciate what you just took a look at. Daring to be great. Daring to do what people just basically, people have unified, or I should say, gone undisputed in 3-weight classes before, but it's exceedingly rare, right? And to go up such a fucking jump. And let's go over one more thing if we can here for just a moment. One of the things that Bud has been trying to argue is that the boxing establishment has overlooked him. He was never their darling. He was never the guy that they picked. He was never the one that they chose ahead of time and was like, we're going to anoint you as our figure. He was never that guy, that was not him. And beating Spence got him a pretty far away in terms of changing attitudes, but Canelo was the big one because Canelo was that guy. Now, Canelo, of course, earned everything he's gotten too. That's not the point. But what I'm trying to say is Canelo was the promotional darling. Hello, the face of boxing. You know what I mean? And not just the face of boxing in this country, the face of boxing in another country. Dude, this motherfucker was the face of boxing worldwide, but in particular in North America, right? And something of a promotional darling, and always the A side, and this, that, and the other. And that was not Crawford's journey, man. That was, that was not Crawford's, he was fighting the Ricky Burns of the world. That was not his trajectory.